There is a body of research known as intolerance of uncertainty. Let's quote Dugas and Robichaud, 2007. They show that ambiguity about health can be more distressing than a confirmed bad outcome because the mind has nothing concrete to organize around. Today, on a Psalm for Today, we are talking about the intolerance of uncertainty. Another way to express the intolerance of uncertainty is in the midst of physical and financial stress, one can have a sense of a suspended life. For example, you may be experiencing chemo every day at such and such a time and such a dose for this many weeks. Or maybe you're in radiation, maybe you are in TMS, maybe all kinds of things. And when you have that uncertainty, what will be the outcome of this? There is an intolerance of uncertainty that is known as the sense of a suspended life. And because of that suspended life sensation, you have difficulty making plans. I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. How can I schedule a lunch appointment? And I don't know. Or difficulty sleeping, difficulty being present with loved ones. There's frequently a quiet rehearsal of worst case scenarios, which can feel both compulsive and isolating. In other words, in this season of suspended life, you can have this sense that what if the worst case scenario happens? What if the most difficult things occur? Well, then that can become a compulsion. If you think about it. Or because, well, it's going to be the worst case scenario, people isolate. And so we want to address that sense of suspended life and that sense of intolerance of uncertainty. From a trauma-informed lens, which is my interest, it's worth recognizing that medical treatment itself can be traumatic. It's a source of trauma. Repeated procedure, loss of autonomy, loss of control, exposure to institutional environments. One time my mom called and said, "You come see me at the hospital." She was crying and she was just going in for an MRI, but they were backed up and they had her in a hospital bed, gurney, whatever you call that. And they just left her in the hall. And she'd been in the hall for well over an hour when she called me crying. That's exposure to institutional environments. I still remember 62 years ago, I was 3 years old. I remember the beeping of machines all through the night. Prior adverse experiences in medical care can amplify the distress. People often don't have language for this. For example, if you're new to your medical experience, you don't have the words to say how you're feeling. You haven't yet generated the terminology or the language to express your experience. And so that's a sense of suspended life, a sense of suspended language, a sense of suspended autonomy, a sense of suspended control. What the intolerance of uncertainty research has shown is that the most helpful thing in this suspended life, intolerance of uncertainty, is someone who can sit in the uncertainty without rushing to fix it. In other words, I can, Lord willing, just sit by your side, not try to fix anything, just be present with you, who in this sitting with uncertainty, you can honor both the hope, wow, I think this is going to work, and the fear, what if this doesn't work, without minimizing the hope or minimizing the fear. We're able to sit there in that uncertainty together. Speaking of my mom, her favorite psalm is Psalm 91, to which we now turn our attention on a psalm for today. Remember, the intolerance of uncertainty, and the sense of a suspended life. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. When there is an intolerance of uncertainty, we can turn our spirit to those things which are certain. And what is certain is that if you abide in this secret place, of this quiet place, this place that you and God have found meaningful together over the years, that you will abide under the shadow of the Almighty. You will be under the shelter of the Lord. And under that shelter of the Lord, you can say, He is my refuge. He is the place where I go where it's safe. Obviously, trauma-informed is anchored. Trauma-informed everything is anchored in a sense of safety and resilience, creating safe spaces. And the literature is, 25, 30 years old in trauma-informed practice research, but it's way before that the Bible told us, you know what, you're gonna need a safe place. You need a refuge. You're gonna need a place in the battle where you can run in and be in a fortress. And this is the God in whom we trust, the God who provides the refuge and the fortress. But verse 9 and verse 14 have a couple of interesting things. It says, because. Why is all this true? Because you and I have made the Lord our refuge, even the Most High, our habitation. We have made the Lord, the Most High God. We have made Him our safe space, and we've made Him the place where we live. In other words, when we come to a season of suspended life or a season of where we're intolerant of uncertainty, it's not like, okay, God, we need to start now. Psalm 91 says, no, because you have made the Lord this refuge and this habitation of your life. This is why you have the confidence of being in the shelter of the Most High. Verse 14 says, because He has set His love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. In other words, God is saying, because you and I have set our love upon God, we're not only turning to Him because He is our refuge, because He is our fortress, we turn to Him because we love Him. And therefore will I deliver him, because He has set His love upon me. So, brothers and sisters, as we think through the intolerance of uncertainty and a suspended life feeling, we remind ourselves that we can dwell in the secret place of the Most High, we can abide under the shadow of the Almighty, and because we have set our love on the Lord, and because, I got to turn to that one, and because we have made the Lord our habitation, we can have confidence that He will be our guide, our guard, our shelter, our provider, and we will be safe and resilient in Him.